Hi, I'm Kira. Welcome to my channel. So, last video I made, I think I said I was going to upload more frequently because I was just going to have more time. Turns out July was crazier than I thought it was going to be. So, didn't film anything. But next month, definitely going to do some reading vlogs, so I'll have more. Also, last week, went to the Eras tour, both nights of Seattle. So that vlog will come hopefully soon. I just haven't had time yet to go through the footage of what I have, and also I need to sit down and do like a little story time, explain some things because I didn't as they were happening, but haven't had time to do that. So also these friendship bracelets have become a part of me, never letting it go. Show weekend was last weekend and I've still been making these bracelets all week and I won't stop. Anyways, moving on to the actual point of this video. This is my July reading wrap up. I read 8 books, all physical, except one I had the physical copy, but I ended up reading it on Kindle Unlimited. Here they are. So in my July TBR jar video, I picked out 12 because I wanted a lot of options because I knew I was going on a week-long camping trip where I would just be reading the whole time. On that trip, I ended up reading 4 books in the first 4 days we were there, and then I kind of like burnt myself out of reading, I think, so much, so then I only read a book and a half the rest of that week. Out of those 12 books that I put on my TBR in that video, I read 6 and then I started a 7th, but I DNF'd that one, so I'll tell you about that at the very end of this. I started the month with my reread of The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. My favorite Sarah Adams book, I believe. This is about Bree and Nathan. Nathan is an NFL player and Bree is an ex-ballerina, but now she teaches in her own dance studio. Something happens where they're seen together and then people take pictures or a video leaks of something that happens at the dinner they go to. So his publicist or someone suggests that they fake date. I don't honestly know what the point of it was. But yeah, they fake date and they're best friends. Friends to lovers, no third act breakup, very wholesome, as is all of Sarah Adams' books. 5 stars. It was 5 stars when I first read it, 5 stars the second time around. Then I finally read this book. I've been wanting to read this for like 2 years since it came out. The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This is my 3rd Christina Lauren book. The first one I read was Honeymooners. I really loved that one. Then I read Love in Other Words, and I didn't love that one. I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as everyone else did. And then this one is in the middle of those two. So I liked it a lot, but not as much as the Honeymooners. I give this 4 stars. This is about River and Jess. River is the founder of this company where you send in your DNA and the company puts it in their system and it gives you matches for people you're most compatible with based on your DNA. And there's different like levels of pairings and compatibility, but it turns out that River and Jess are the highest pairing they've ever seen. Also, single parent, Jess has a daughter. It took me about 150 pages to really get into it, and I loved all the scenes with River and Jess's daughter. I just didn't like the 3rd act conflict. That's usually what happens and is what brings book ratings down for me, because I don't like the conflicts. A lot of times I feel like it's not necessary, or if it was necessary and it happened for a reason, I feel like it gets brushed over really quickly. 4 stars, still really liked it. Then I read this book. This is Tell Me What Really Happened by Chelsea Sidoti. This is a YA mystery. I would compare it to like Daisy Jones and the Six, the way that it's written. Like it's written in a police interrogation style where it just says the character's name and then they have like a paragraph or 2 that they talk and then it goes to the next character. They have a paragraph or so. And each chapter starts with the interrogator like asking a question and then you get each person's answers and they're all different. But I really like that because then you can see how people's stories contradict each other. And it's like you're trying to figure out what the truth is along with the interrogator. So I really like that about this. I gave it 3.5 stars. There was something in it. I don't know if I can say this without giving it away because it kind of has to do with like what happened. A group of friends goes camping in the woods and one of them doesn't make it back. I can't say what I didn't like because it's gonna give some stuff away, but what happened, or like what someone thought happened, it was so annoying because they kept bringing it up. Anyways, 3.5 stars. Really good for a YA mystery. Just didn't like how it ended. Then I read another thriller mystery, and this one was a lot better. I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Gave this a 5 stars. one of my new favorite mystery thrillers, right up there with Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So this is about Millie, and she is hired as a housemaid for this family by this woman who seemingly is insane, but there's more to the story. And the end of this was crazy. This was 5 stars. Loved it. My mom is currently reading it as well. She's on chapter 38. I'm actually currently reading A Housemaid's Secret, which is the sequel to this. Another book I read in a day on my camping trip was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This is about a big family that they always go to Martha's Vineyard for vacation. I think they used to do it every year, and they would play this giant game of assassin, where you get one person that you have to like shoot with a water gun, and then once you get them out, you get their person, and it just keeps going on until there's like 2 people left. But then our main character Meredith lost her sister, so they didn't go 1 year. And then the next year, her cousin, I believe, is having her wedding there, and it's a whole week-long event, and they end up playing the game again. And then Meredith meets this boy there as well, and they start talking and hanging out. Very summery romance. I gave this 4 stars. It was really cute. This book is so Taylor Swift coded. This is my favorite annotation. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Another 4 stars, which I feel like a lot of people say this is their favorite Ali Hazelwood book. This still doesn't top The Love Hypothesis for me, but I liked it better than Love on the Brain. This one is about rival physicists. One is a theorist and the other is experimentalist. They end up working together on something because it needs both of the 2 physicists. But Elsie, our main girl, knew who our main guy Jack was before because he did something that she didn't agree with, and they end up having to work together on something. This one was a bit too scientisty for me, and then Elsie and Jack's relationship felt a little too weird for me at some points. Oh, another part. Elsie, as a side job, is like fake dating people, and she fake dates Jack's brother at the start of this book. So that happened too. And then the conflict was resolved in like 3 pages or something. So was it really a conflict? Or was it just added for a bit of drama? I don't know. Oh, do I have a lot to say about this one. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I've seen so many people talk about this. I don't know if the general consensus is that this is amazing or if people hate it. I hated it. I gave it 1.5 stars just because there was a split moment for maybe 2 or 3 chapters where I was very invested. This is about a girl who went missing 10 years ago, and then her mother, 10 years later, she meets this guy, and then when she goes and meets his daughter looks almost identical to her daughter who went missing the 10 years ago. In theory, it sounds good. Execution, not good. At least in my opinion. I didn't really love the writing style, and it was like something I noticed of me not liking it that much. I honestly wanted to kind of DNF it at like 50 pages, but by then I had made a prediction, and I wanted to see if it went the way I thought it was, or like I had an idea of prediction, because on my notes I said I made a prediction on page 62, and it was partially right. The idea I had was true in some aspects, but something was a little different from my prediction, and that's the point, like when we found that out, that was the point where I was invested for a few chapters, and then I just got bored again. And then I made another prediction on page 121, and I guess it was kind of true. Again, like the first one, there was an aspect of it that was kind of semi-true. Either way, I was pretty bored, and so probably will be getting rid of this on Pinko Books, so. And then finally, I literally finished this book maybe an hour ago. It's the last day of July, so I wanted to get it done. Tutoring the Player by Rebecca Genshak. I gave this 3.5 stars. I was feeling like after I read this, I was going into a bit of reading slump where I was just like, I'm so bored with this, I don't want to read anything anymore. But then I picked this up, and it was exactly what I needed, just a fun, little, simple hockey romance. So I really like this. This one's about Daisy, and she has a crush on this guy Liam who is in her science lab, but he also has a best friend, Jordan, and Daisy talks with Liam a bit, but then Liam kind of like pushes her away, and then Daisy starts talking to Jordan, and they start hanging out more. Jordan asks if she could tutor him because he likes hanging out with her, so he needs an excuse to hang out with her. That doesn't seem weird. It goes from there, and Jordan and Liam are hockey players, and then Daisy has a friend group of 3 other girls, and they all have their own book. And then the book I DNF'd, I'm going to talk about it quickly. This was on my TBR for last month. I started reading Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I got about 100 pages in. On my camping trip, I started this and got about 100 pages in, and then I stopped reading it. And then I let it sit, and I didn't pick it up for another 2 weeks until a few days ago. I picked it back up, started reading it, read maybe 5 pages, and I just put it down because I just could not do it. Which is kind of sad because the last 3 Taylor Jenkins Reid books I've given 5 stars that I've read. I just felt like there was no storyline truly happening in this book. Like, it was kind of just vibes, but it wasn't the kind of vibes I like. I just couldn't see where it was going, and I didn't want to keep reading it because I didn't like any of the characters really, and it's a back and forth timeline, which isn't always my favorite. So I just felt like I didn't want to keep reading it. I might come back to it at some point, but probably not soon. So that being said, these are all the books I read in July. My favorite probably is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite read of this past month of July was, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.